Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm Ron Spikes. I'm out here today, and I don't know if you've seen the name. The title of the show is called Respect. Respect. And as I think about respect, I think about us as a people. And when I say I think about us as a people, you know, just before I got ready to go on, I was looking at some pictures, and it took me back to a place where I think the world wants us to forget about what's going on today. I really do think the world wants us to forget about what's going on. This particular week in Houston, a while back, we buried a person. It kind of changed the dynamics of the world. It showed a point where it didn't matter what color you are. It showed a point where it didn't matter what class you were in. It didn't matter at that particular point in time because you know what? Everybody showed up. Everybody showed up. And I remember this day in Houston because it was one of the days that Houston was put on the map. Not saying that we wasn't there before, but we got put on the map this day because everybody came to celebrate the homegoing of George Floyd. That means that what he went through is what every black child in America is threatened with every time they go out and they're pulled over by police. So we train our kids different than everybody else. We tell them when you get pulled over by the police, just do what they say and come home. We want to see you come home. And that's the reason why George Floyd hit my heart so much this morning. This is a week that remembers. This is a week that the world reflects. A week of reconsiderations. 6 years ago, and I could have the dates wrong, but 6 years ago, a man's life was taken. A moment became a movement. A moment became a movement. A tragedy became a testimony. The world watched in pain and protested in pain. They showed you what they was going to do. I don't care how they tried to tag it, what they tried to put into it. The world was in pain, basically looking at this young man. Now I'm saying young man because he was young at the time. And his words were, "Mama." The most powerful words that you could say. And he said, "Mama." I remember that, looking at it on TV. I didn't know the man was from Houston. Didn't know where he was from. But I did feel his pain. I did feel his agony because he said, "Mama." The world watched injustice. The world watched truth. The world could not look away from it because it was on every single channel that was out there. It was on every single channel. And every year since, it just hits a little bit different. This year it hits different because I'm gonna tell you the reason why it hits different. Because nobody's taking the time to remember it. But at the end of this, I want to show you something. I want you to watch and see what I tell you. I want you to follow what I'm saying, and then you can get it. It hits. It hits. It hits. It hits identity because of George Floyd's name. Still shakes the nation. Still stirs in the streets. Do you know that people went out there and repaint it over, do paint on his pictures. The man is dead. Can't do nothing else to him. He was killed by police. Can't do nothing else to him. Why would you go out there and destroy somebody's work that they put in the effort to celebrate his life? I'm gonna leave it there. But after all of that, it still calls for change. So before anything else, we need to honor this week. We need to honor that moment. We need to honor the man. We need to honor the movement. We need to honor the message that he told us about. We need to be black people and stand up because we got a reason to stand up. We got a reason to be proud. Not that his circumstances, but what it brought on to a nation as a whole. It gave us a minute to pause. And just like it gave the nation a minute to pause, I'm taking a minute to pause and celebrate George Floyd, somebody's son, somebody's uncle, somebody's brother, somebody's best friend. We have to celebrate those moments too. It took clarity and it took courage for people to stand up. I recognize that. I really do. So George, I want to tell you, I want to tell you, you lit up the streets of Houston during that time. You actually did. And the thing that I want to talk about today is so in line with that. I'm changing my background for a minute so I can see what I want to say. It's so in line with you. And I know that wasn't the intention of most people because they would have treated you like anybody else. Here's where I want to go with this. I want to get in this show, and you see you see Tamika Mallory on this side, and you see no justice, no peace, respect for our existence, or expect resistance. I have to read it here because I can't see it on my monitor up here. I got too much other stuff. But how can we expect respect if we don't value ourselves? I'm gonna say that one more time because I need you to understand. How can you expect respect when we don't value ourselves? That should sink in because right before I went on the air, one of the things I was saying to myself, and I was gathering my thoughts. I always gather my thoughts as I get into this process, and as I was gathering my thoughts, one of the things I said was, and I know it's gonna hurt, but it's probably more true than people want to admit. Black people hate black people. Black people hate black people. I'm not going to get into that too much today, but it's coming. The way we treat each other, the way we do each other, the way that if one person dressed better than us, we want to outdo them or we want to put them down behind the scenes. We want to talk about them. And let me just say this. If you're on a cruise and you're out there sailing the ocean or doing whatever, having a good time, you saved up your pennies and rolled up your quarters and got out there. Don't you think it's worth giving somebody else a little bit of space if they accidentally bump into you or if any encounter happen while you're away from home? On a big old ship. If I bump into you, I'm sorry. I apologize. It ain't nothing that I want. I just want to tell you. Maybe I should just break it down to you. Hey, I saved up all my money. I got here on this trip. I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I'm not trying to disrespect you. But we got to stop setting those examples for people to look at us, and then we expect people to respect us. It's the little things that we have to do, that we have to take that extra mile. We have to walk the extra mile. And if your patience that short, don't go on the trip. Stay home. Stay home with your bad attitude. Stay home because you feel good about yourself. It makes you feel good about yourself to get out there, but then you don't have enough respect to respect somebody else at the same time. If you're in a position where you don't feel good, don't do it. If you're in a position that makes you feel better than everybody else, don't do it. Because you're going to only end up getting yourself in trouble that you can't get out of. Or having to pay money to try to get home that you didn't have in the first place to go on the vacation. I'm just saying, some things we just got to call out. We can't, we just, we can't, we can't value ourselves. Not fully, not consistently, not in a lasting way. Self value is essential, not decoration. You put it on your shirt, you walk around with, I'm black and I'm proud. You walk around, I'm one in a million. You walk around with these one word shirts that's got these words that black, don't touch me, black, I'm special. You ain't special if you don't know that you're special, because it takes a special kind of person to respect another person. I'm sorry, I can't. I got to keep moving because I'm getting into something I really don't want to get into. Again, it's not optional. You can't change his color, but you can change your attitude. Not temporarily. You can change your attitude temporarily. You can change your attitude not temporary. What I'm trying to say is that it's not something that you temporarily do. You're gonna be black all the time. So just expect that. And if you see another black person, give them the same respect that you expect to get back in return. I don't care where you at, supermarket, Walmart, Targets, any place that you at. Oh, I said Target. I'm sorry. But Targets too, because it's black people that work in there. That's what we forget. Anyway, that's another story too. It's a foundation. The base of dignity, the base of unity, the base of survival. When we lose value, we lose direction. We let others name us by our actions. When they showing you dropped off on that dock out there, that's that's part of being black. That's part of what they associate. That's the easiest definition of how they associate you. When they show you out there acting a fool in public because you done ran behind the counter or threw something at somebody because you didn't think that was gonna come back at you. You didn't think that was gonna show up on video. That now that's the evidence for the police to come get you, and you're gonna pay for all that damage that you did. You have to carry respect in order to get respect. Because if you're in a place, I'm gonna break this down so you can understand it. If you're in Waffle House, you know where you're at. That's what you could afford. So why are you gonna tear up the place? I'm just asking. I want you to just open up your mind and digest what I just said for a minute. You're in Waffle House and you worried about somebody that's disrespecting you. So you tore up the place, your friends got you on video and all that. That's crazy. Hmm. Think about it. We lose direction. We let others name us. We let others identify who we are as a people. And we don't have no problem with it. We don't have pride about ourselves just to know that that we shape ourselves as we go out in public. We're the ones. We let others divide us. We let others dismiss us by our behavior. But when we value ourselves, and that's the reason why I thought about George Floyd. When we value ourselves, we protect each other because when George Floyd's body left that church, it was people lined up all the way along the way to where he was buried. On each side of the road. It wasn't just blacks, it was everybody. But in Houston, and I kind of watch the local news every day, they're mentioning it, going to the next story. But you have to remind people, you have to remember, and other people need to remind you that was a significant moment in history. That was special. Because George Floyd wasn't somebody that had traveled the nation and everybody knew who he was. He was somebody's son, uncle, child that you could have ran up on everyday person that you could have ran up on. But look at the turnout. Out of respect. And I'm grabbing from that because it shows you that we have to do what we need to do to make a difference. We don't have to be the loudest. We don't have to be the one that's out there, as they say, doing the best dance. We don't have to drive the best cars. We don't have to have on the best clothes. It's the way in which you carry yourself. We protect each other. When we start investing in each other, that's a show for another day. When we correct each other, we got to accept it as constructive criticism. If somebody's saying something about you, those words are not going to touch you. But if you allow them to change your behavior, it means you didn't have that much respect and you knew something was wrong when you got there. I want to tell you something because you see me wiping my face. I'm wiping my face because I don't have the air conditioning that everybody else does when they do these type of shows. My air conditioning is I do my show in a part of my place, and sometimes I do it where I know that it gets hot. So when you see me doing this or you see me doing this, that's when I'm sweating the most. Anyway, that last part I left off, when we invest in each other, man, that's gonna be a great day. When we while we correcting each other, we can build for each other. We can reach out and say, hey. That's not necessary. Why are you doing that? That's what we gotta get toward that because we gotta say, look, they put all this on camera. Why are you showing out? Sometimes we gotta step in and remind people who they are. We gotta move like we have a purpose again. We gotta move like we're worth something. Stop stopping and expecting everybody else to pick up our load or whatever we leave out there. You want everybody else to pick it up. As I look at this, I just want to, when I start talking like this and I'm looking at the screen, I just want us to step back in a little bit in time, and I'm gonna take you back. 2020. Think back in 2020, pain everywhere, anger everywhere, grief everywhere. But something special appeared. People showed up, handed out waters, linked arms. People protected strangers. People care it loudly. People care it out loud. People care it out loud. In that moment, and this is why I got a picture up here, because that moment, Tamika stepped forward. Tamika Mallory, that is. She stood firm. She spoke the truth. She said, I don't care if they burn Target down, because Target should be helping us. Target should stand with us. And you know, that wasn't about the stores. It was about priorities. It was about alignment. It was about respect. It was about trying to build a partnership. It was about value for the moment that we were in. We moved together, not perfectly, but powerfully, across a whole nation. Across a whole nation. Because here's the truth: when we know our value, one day we're going to stand up. One day we're going to feel it. But we have to get consistency in place for them to know what our value is. Because I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to tell you something. We came into a world where they didn't know what we was, but they valued what we could do. If they were strong enough to do it by themselves, if they had the willpower and the strength to do it by themselves, they wouldn't have needed us. I'm gonna tell you something that come along with that strength and that willpower. You're gonna have to accept us for who we are. You're gonna have to know that we helped you build something, and we're just as much a part of this nation as you are. I need that to sink in right there. We helped build this nation. This nation didn't just pop up overnight. This wasn't a pop-up tent. This wasn't something that they blew into. It was people that lost their lives building this. But what is it going to take for us to sustain it? What is it going to take for us to sustain what we did? How we moved, how we got about doing our business? What is it going to take for that? And that's the thing that we haven't realized, that we haven't got to yet. And as soon as we get to that, I guarantee you, a lot of this stuff is going to really go away. A lot of the stuff that we complain about is going to go away. And if you don't think that they're scared of it, why do you think they redistribute these lines around? Just why? The real issue is that we're not consistent in what we do. And when we ask for self-value doesn't have to be perfection. Self-value is commitment. We can love ourselves and still heal one another. We can stand strong and still be struggling. We can build forward and still fix things. Every community has issues. The strong ones, like us, like we did, like we have been doing, still rise anyway. I'll say that again. The strong ones still rise anyway. They don't let problems define their worth. So the question is, why don't we value ourselves? The real question is, how did we sustain that value? And I don't want to take away, because some of us are building. Some of us are surviving. Some of us are exhausted. Some are focused and they know what they want to do. And they know where they're going. And then some are learning. They learning this process. See, because if you didn't grow up in an environment where people taught you that you were a proud people, if your history or if your books didn't show you that, and you were learning, and then I want to break this down because I need to break this down. A lot of times, most kids never get a higher learning process until they get to college. They hear about it, and unless it's within their house and their community, they don't know about it. If you don't believe me, sometimes go up to just a normal kid that you see on the street. Ask them, do they know who Martin Luther King was? Ask them, do they know who Malcolm X is? Fred Hampton, Harriet Tubman. Because we're not teaching our kids early enough for them to take that into consideration. Because if we teach our kids how what we did as black people, we might not have as much confusion out there. They might conduct themselves a little bit different when they're out in public because they want to hold up, what's that word? Respect for themselves, because they know that when they're out in public, that they're a part of something that's bigger than them. When you got respect, you move differently. We carry differently. People don't wound us as easy as using words. It just don't happen when you got respect for yourself and you got self-reflection and maybe I should put a little bit of pride in there. It don't wound us as much because we can absorb, because we know what people have done for us. You become aware. You become aware of your surrounding. You know where you're at and you know what you're trying to do. You know that you're here. You take it in, you take all things into consideration. You look at that person in front of you as another human being. And if they black and they say something to you, you should be able to give them more. Give them more space. Give them more opportunity. Give them a chance to express themselves. And if you have to walk away without saying a word just to keep your dignity intact, it ain't about the people that's around you. Because when you get out there and lose your dignity, they're gonna still be there. Think about it. They're the ones that's filming you. They don't care. They just gonna take it out to their YouTube and embarrass you on it. Now your job, people that respected you within the community or saw that you was trying to do anything, now they can put you in a category because you lost your for 1 second, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And no, none of them people with them cameras care about you. None of them. So the question becomes, how do we spread value? How do we normalize support? How normalize accountability? Normalize investment? Normalize unity? Respect comes from unity. I'm gonna tell you something, I'm gonna say it again. Respect comes from unity, not perfection. Unity isn't an agreement, unity is an alignment. The world respects structure, the world respects discipline, the world respects identity, the world respects clarity. Respect isn't handed out, it's recognized. I'm gonna say that because that just drove it home. Respect isn't so most people can understand. Respect isn't given to you. Respect is recognized because it's earned. You, I gotta get this part right. You can see everybody on the street, You can see your relative that you just love and adore. But if you don't respect them, how will you treat them? How will you regard them? I'm just saying, respect is earned. And if we got to respect the people on the job, if we got to respect the people wherever we go, if we got that kind of respect going on, we don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. They don't make us, they don't break us, they don't take away from us and make us anything else. We refuse to let them do that to us because we are bigger than them. Our race is bigger than them. Our cause is bigger than them. They don't understand the struggle that we've been through. I'm just putting it out there. How you take it and how you go about it, it's up to you. Here's the truth. We don't need everyone. Maybe you didn't hear me. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. We don't need everyone. I'm doing something because I started laughing because I thought I had this all in place. But we don't need everyone. Stop thinking that you need everybody. You don't. I want to get back to my position because I'm about to get out of here. But that was a key point. Most people think that they need everybody to respect them. You don't. You know, as I dig deeper into this, and you wouldn't believe how much work goes into just doing something like this on a daily basis, and you just wouldn't believe where it goes to because it takes a lot of research. It takes you have to value what you're doing. And when I get into stuff like this, it's more than I'm trying to put out information that people can go back and listen to. I don't care if you're listening to it now. I really don't. I really don't. But I want you to go back and listen to it at your leisure because sometimes people digest better. You know, I say, how do we sustain value? How do we spread value? How do we normalize investment? The world respects structure. Respect isn't handed out, it's recognized. Now I'm give you some truth because I want to get this out. And then I think I'm looking at my time. I didn't want to be here that long today, but I want to give you some truth to add to all that I just got through saying, all that I just got through talking about. This is bigger, much bigger than what I'm talking about today. Because if we don't learn respect, we don't learn how important our vote is. And the only reason why I do these podcasts outside of where everybody else is going, and it's all about getting you to vote and understand that you have a reason to vote, not to stand there and say, well, I'm not voting because it don't make a difference. I do this so you can understand what value you have. See, because I hear people talk, I hear people out there on a consistent basis, and they telling you, well, we're not getting out and vote. The black vote is not getting out. We're not consistent in what we do. Until we get consistent in respecting ourselves and valuing ourselves, until we get consistent in knowing that the people that died for us, until we learn that lesson, until somebody tells us that lesson, it's going to be hard to get people out to vote. So I listened to one of my friends last night. He was calling me during the show, and he said, Ron, I got something to tell you. I got something to tell you. I said, okay, Dave. I said, just hold it. I said, I'm doing this show right now. It was so important what he said that I wish I would have just interrupted the show and let him in after I got off the telephone, after I got off the podcast and I was listening to him. He said, Ron said, I got so excited. He said, I had a couple of young people around me, and I was trying to explain to them why it's important to vote. And all of them was saying, no, I ain't going to vote. It ain't going to make a difference. It ain't going to make a difference. He said he went through the efforts of explaining to him, and he basically broke it down like I did, like I've been doing, about the different people in history that have given their lives and the different people that made a difference to get us to this point, how the sacrifice came about. He said, Ron, so I didn't have to go in too much detail because they were listening, they were engaging in the conversation that I had. They would value what I was saying and said before it was over with, he said, one of them said, you know what? I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna go out and vote because now I see where the value and you have to stop taking for granted. When you see me drop my head, I'm thinking about something that's so serious. When we on these medias like I'm on right now, we have to stop taking for granted that people have the same knowledge that you do. We have to stop taking for granted that people went through school like you do, like you did. This 18 is an age where people are beginning life. You probably got all your knowledge after 18. A few of y'all probably got it before 18. A few of y'all probably grew up in a different household where they encourage you to be black and understand where you came from. But not everybody did that. So when you're in these social platforms like we are right now, like I am right now, take that into account. Take that into account that everybody didn't have the knowledge that you do. And when you talk to them, stop talking down to them, talk to them. We're not going to encourage youth to come in and vote if we don't talk to them and get them and show them the right way. That's how important it is. Last night we did a show on church, how important the church was within the black community. But if we don't have youngsters, young people coming in to replace us at right now, that's going to be gone too. You can't just have preachers' kids coming in and they're the only ones at the church. You can't just bring your son on Sunday and ask for prayer for him because of something that he did. And you want him to be prayed on. You got to bring him ahead of time. You got to bring them into the church and let them understand. That's where respect and dignity and discipline and looking up to somebody that's black and respecting your elders and all the rest of that came from. That's the reason why we did that show the other night. You have to instill over time, not just like respect is earned. Belief in yourself and discipline is taught over time. Those are stuff, that's not stuff that you learn overnight. I done had a young man that was on here, and I'm gonna use this example. I had a young man that was on here not too long ago. You can go back and find the video. He was saying the same thing. He said, I never had it in my life. I never had somebody was showing me the right way. Everybody I seen was either going to jail or going to prison or misusing or abusing or doing something. Everybody didn't come out of an environment where everything was squeaky clean, but you have to grab them where they're at. I get tired of hearing media people like me talk to people like they on the same level. They're not. They don't know what COINTELPRO, and they probably don't know a lot of the other phrases that y'all use, but you act like you talking to somebody that knows that. If you don't talk to the youth, they all gonna have that same attitude. That's the reason why I'm reaching back out to this day in history about George Floyd, because they're letting it slide by. You see that man right there? I want to see if I can get it right. You see that man right there? He moved a nation. At the cost of his life. That young lady up there, that young lady, she spoke one of the most powerful speeches I've heard in the modern day era. Tamika Mallory. Most of y'all never understand unless you take it and digest it for a minute. Most of y'all never understand. We still don't value ourselves. We ain't able to sustain something that we don't understand. But here, I've done a lot of talking, but here's what I'm gonna ask you to do. This is the assignment. This is bigger, much bigger. Bigger than the moments, bigger than speeches, bigger than crisis, bigger than headlines. It's about courage. It's about memory. It's about truth. It's really about purpose. When James Brown said, "I'm black and I'm proud," say it again. When James Brown said, "I'm black and I'm proud," that meant that we should have respect for ourselves. That meant that we could show our kids that it was a time that we had to say it in order to get it. If you remember the point that this hit the most, because if we're gonna teach our kids, I see you, brother. I see you out there. If we're gonna teach our kids something, at least we should teach our kids to be proud of the moment in which they came from, to be proud of their skin color, to be proud of where they are. That pride isn't arrogance. Pride is position. Pride is your identity. Pride is your worth. Pride should never shrink. Just like respect, pride should never shrink. You know, I want to say this, and I need you to understand this wholeheartedly. When you place Tamika beside the greats, and you listen to that whole speech that she gave, that was for you guys, the young people that's out there, young people that say that they don't want to hear "I have a dream" no more. That's the old people out there. Well, what Tamika said was for you at that time, and it should still resonate with you. It should give you the feeling of evolution. Evolution means that you're moving forward. And as she resonated that message, don't give up. That's what she was basically saying. Nobody controls your destiny. It was the same as Dr. Martin Luther King, and as if Malcolm X had put it out, but it was done in a time where you could relate to it. And that's the reason why when I called this show respect, I need us to get that respect back. I need us to earn that respect back. I need us to understand the fight that other people put out before us to get us to where we at today. I need you to understand that she's carrying that message of the people that came before her. And we should carry it forward into the future. That same fight, maybe a new face, but what she's talking about is different. Because you say that you don't want to hear Dr. Martin Luther King, or you grew past that. You don't want to hear about Malcolm X. You don't want to hear about the Fred Hamptons. You don't want to hear about the Harriet Tubmans. But you need to hear it from somebody that recognizes you. And I know that if I don't get the youth involved in this situation here, where you can understand what's going on, we're doomed as a people. We're doomed as a people, and I hate to use those words, but if we can't get you to bite into what's going on, and that show last night was about church, the black church, and where it stood, if we can't get you to understand what people are doing for you right now, and if you continue to listen to people tear each other down on the airways instead of knowing that you stood for something, that you are special, that you are black and proud, people like me that's got this microphone, we might as well turn this stuff off. We might as well put it in the corner, and maybe 20 or 30 years later, our kids say, look at this. Because you're not serving the purpose. Anytime that you're going out there half dressed as a young lady, that ain't pride. That ain't respect. Because I say respect is earned. If you can see your respect, let me just say it again so some of y'all don't get offended. If you can see your respect, why do I have to earn it? Because you have to respect yourself. It don't mean that you have to be different. And if it meant that much for you to get paid, for you to give up your body, at what cost? At what cost? And I'm gonna keep saying that because we need to understand that it's some things that you just don't pass on. It's some things that you have to stand on with passion. It's some things that whew, people stood and gave their lives for us to get to where we're at right now. If you, it stirs memories in me. The most of all, it provokes thought. It leaves choices, and we have the responsibility as older people to pass that on. Because if we don't do it, if we don't point to places and times like George Floyd's death and generate respect, we fell in our own. See, I'm gonna have to go here because we did this last night. See, if you go to church, I didn't say religion in a building. I say church. If you go to church, they should teach you something about God. If you go to church and they give you stories about what happened in their life, I want you to look at the person that's giving you that story and wonder, did he go through the same life that you did? See, because there's people out here telling stories where they got evicted month to month. My mama, we didn't stay nowhere long, period. Because they got evicted month to month. It's people out here getting their kids taken away from them. So if that preacher is standing up there telling you stories and that's not working, maybe you should go to a church where they praying and talking about the word of God. Not about possibilities, but telling you what happened, what transpired. How did they get to where they're at? I'm just saying, I know that we got it in us as a people. I know that we got it in us as a people because look where we came from. That journey was long and hard, and people lost their lives. People came from from everywhere, and yet we don't respect it. If anything, we disrespect it. I'm gonna get. I know. I get on here and I get to run in my mouth and I get long winded and I hope that most of all, I told you that we are a people that we meant something that we. Let me lean over. It don't matter which way I lean. You hear these words: no justice, no peace. Respect our existence. Respect our existence or expect resistance. I just seen that. I want you to look at that sign to the right, your left. Respect our existence or respect our resistance. That's where we at right now. That is exactly where we at right now. So yes, we stand ready, not because we're perfect, not because we're finished, but because we know, value, respect, discipline. All that starts within us. All of that starts within us. Respect begins inside. Unity begins inside. When we move together, we speak together. We refuse to be divided. We refuse to make them think that we're shrinking. The world notices. The world shifts. Not because it changed, but because we did. We did. We did as a people. And until we change as a people, none of the rest of it means anything else to anybody else. Because if we respect ourselves enough, other people are going to have to respect who we are. Because that respect will stop you from moving your hands. That respect will have you turn around and walk away. That respect will have you turning turning the key to your house to get in while you left that fool out there in the street. That respect of saying, yes, sir, just tell me, sir, I'm just here to get this ticket. If you need me to put my hands here or wherever you want me to put them, I'm going to put them there. I ain't here to argue with you. That respect will get you home. At one time, we stood tall. We stood firm. We stood like we belong here. But the one thing I want to tell you, and I need you to understand this with everything that you got, and we do. And we do. I want to end with this because I want to say something to people that's talking to Black youth that's out there. Don't stop giving them that extra lesson that they want you to. Don't stop giving that to them because that's the only way that they're coming home. The world is telling them that they're different people. They are different people, but we forget that they're a son, they're a nephew, they're uncle. We want our kids to come home. They're a sister, they're a daughter, they're auntie. And yeah, girls now. If you look at some of these videos out there, it's like they don't respect themselves. I'm gonna say let that man do his job. You do yours and come back home. I'm tired of these videos where a person is out there and the only thing you have to do is keep your mouth quiet. That ain't hurting your pride, that ain't hurting your dignity, but it gets you back home. Before I get out of here, I see I still got about 6 minutes. I want to leave you with this. Because you see it on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Because you talk to a relative or somebody that's going through grief right now doesn't mean that it's true. At what cost are we going to continue to sacrifice our own people because we won't do research? A lie travels faster than anything else out there. And the way that you deliver it doesn't make it any different. The way that you deliver it doesn't make it any different. Because you say you got black pride doesn't mean that anything that you got it enough to do research. It's something that happened right here in Houston. I'm ashamed to call it out because people don't do research. So before you run that flag up the pole and you ready to destroy somebody else's reputation, make sure that you do research. The only thing you have to do, and I'm gonna continue to say this, ask Google, ask whatever GPT you got to use. Ask, is this true before you repost it or before you like it? Because I'm gonna tell you, black people hate black people. Black people hate black people, whether or not you know it or not. And that's the thing that we got to get over. That's the thing that we got to get over. That's some self-healing that we got to get it. We might as well get it in place. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just go out there in the media. I have enough respect for whatever you said to tell you, to question it, to research it, because I do not want to put information out to destroy another person unless I know it's true and I can stand and put my hand on the Bible and say, hey, this is true, before I put it back out there. The only thing about it is that, see, you put it out there, your people look at it, but you didn't destroy another whole person's reputation. That person can't draw it back. That person can't correct what you put out there. That person don't even get a chance to defend who they are. And you know one thing about it? I'll tell you, God knows it all. God sees it. So while you out there sticking your chest out, while you out there saying what you got to say, and don't care who you hurt, God is watching. And I hope that your people told you that. I hope that your people delivered that message to you if they didn't do anything else. God is watching. Never, never. I'll tell you something. I want to gather my thoughts because I want to say something that I want it to come out right. Never put out any information that you're not sure about. Because in the end, you lose all of your credibility up until that point. Everything that you earn from a person, and respect is earned. I know I got off on a little tangent at the end. I got about 2 minutes. I want to thank you, everybody that listened to me. I hope that I shared some information that went a long way. We need to provoke thought in our youth. If we don't get them to understand our net worth and our value, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. So I'm going to say this. Keep doing what you're doing. But most of all, respect yourself. Remember that respect is earned, not given. With that being said, I'm going to say, hey, y'all have a good day. I'm running right up on my time and I'm getting ready to get out of here. This is the first time I ever got close to it, and I'm going to be out on time. So, Byron Glass, Pastor A.F. Riggins, I want to tell y'all hi. I'm giving y'all a big shout out. And tonight, is it tonight? Tonight, join Pastor A.F. Riggins. Let me see if I got it. I'm gonna have to go get it. Y'all just bear with me. I got an image file that I want to put up on the screen. Let me see if I got it, if I can get to it real quick. I almost made it, but here it is right here. Y'all just listen. Here it is right here. It's coming. It didn't come up. Come on, please. Please, please, please. Join Pastor A.F. Riggins tonight as he does Bible study. Bible study. Go out there and Google Pastor A.F. Riggins. Please, whatever you do, go out there and Google Pastor A.F. Riggins. He has Wednesday night Bible study tonight. Please join him at 7 p.m. A.F. Riggins. I can't tell you about how to spell his first name, but I'm going to tell you A.F. Riggins. Go out there and join him tonight at 7:30. He's one of our hosts here on, I almost say Blog Talk, but it might as well be Blog Talk USA and Two Gents Podcast. He's the mic. Y'all take care. I enjoyed it. Thank you. Take some pride in yourself. Don't ever forget to do that. Thank you.